In The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, we're thrown into the village of West Egg, rich with wealth, status, and glamour. In that little town, there is one name that echoes above all, J. Gatsby. Known for throwing parties that light up the night sky, Gatsby attracts guests from every corner of New York. Rumors swirl around him like the smoke of his never-ending celebrations. Born James Gatz to a poor farming family in North Dakota, driven by a single infatuation, Daisy Buchanan, he transformed himself to become the mysterious J. Gatsby, self-made millionaire. Daisy, whom he first met as a young military officer during World War I, quickly became the embodiment of all his dreams. She stood for all that he had always desired but was never able to have: riches, beauty, and social standing. While he was away at war, she married Tom Buchanan. Upon his return, and to win her back, he hosted lavish parties every weekend at his mansion, strategically located across the bay from her home. These parties were in reality not social gatherings. They were a desperate attempt to capture an idealized life, one he believed would lure her back to him. When they reconnect, the initial joy is quickly replaced by a harsh reality. Tom Buchanan confronts him, revealing the truth about his past and his intentions with Daisy. Faced with the choice between Gatsby and Tom, she chooses the latter, shattering his dream. Gatsby's life, from the moment he met and fell in love with Daisy, was governed by a singular concept: the fear of reality. A fear so great that his only option was to escape into another world. This fear of reality and concurrent escapism is known in literature as Bovarism. Where it began. Coined by Jules de Gaultier and derived from Gustave Flaubert's Madame Bovary, Bovarism is a term used to describe a state of perpetual dissatisfaction with reality and an incessant yearning for an idealized life. This often involves living in a fantasy world where one imagines a more exciting, glamorous, or fulfilling existence than the real one currently experienced. The novel tells the story of Emma, a farmer's daughter who marries Charles Bovary, a simple and unremarkable country doctor. Initially, Emma believes this marriage will bring her the excitement and luxury she longs for, but she quickly becomes weary of her small-town existence and uninspiring husband. Her dissatisfaction drives her to seek thrills and pleasures beyond her reach. She first immerses herself in romantic novels, which only fuel her unrealistic expectations and fantasies. Then engages in adulterous affairs and spends lavishly, quickly accruing massive debts in her quest to live the glamorous life she dreams of. Her relentless pursuit of these fantasies ultimately leads to her financial and romantic ruin, swiftly followed by her tragic suicide, leaving us with the term Bovarism, which is ruled by four main ideas. 1. Idealization of unattainable goals. The idea of setting sights on goals that are unrealistic or beyond reach and start idealizing them to the point where they overshadow present reality. 2. Persistent dissatisfaction. This creates a constant sense of discontent and frustration with the present circumstances, a vicious cycle which leads to a perpetual state of unhappiness. 3. Escapism. To cope with their dissatisfaction, individuals retreat into a fantasy world, imagining a life that aligns with their dreams and desires. And 4. Emotional and psychological consequences. The relentless pursuit of an idealized life then leads to significant emotional and psychological distress, including anxiety, depression, or severe isolation, due to the aspirations being unrealistic or unattainable. The simplest way to describe Bovarism is a conflict between an individual's reality and their unrealistic, often romanticized ideals. Realism versus Romanticism. In literature, realism is an approach that strives to depict life as it truly is, without embellishment or romanticization. It focuses on everyday activities, experiences, and the realities of life. Romanticism, in contrast, is an approach that emphasizes the pursuit of perfect, often unattainable ideals. It involves creating a reality based on one's desires and dreams rather than on actual circumstances. It often portrays characters striving for grandiose, romantic, or unrealistic goals. Gustave Flaubert's Madame Bovary stands as a perfect blend of the two. The novel meticulously depicts the banalities and harsh realities of the provincial life that the protagonist lives, with the detailed and unflinching portrayal of her environment. There is a certain irony in reading the novel. The literary style of Madame Bovary strictly adheres to the principles of realism. Its protagonist, however, is hopelessly trapped in romanticism. It is precisely that tension between Emma's romantic desires and her realistic limitations that gave birth to Bovarism. But why is it so wrong? What's the issue with a little escapism? The issue in the case of Emma is that she's trying so hard to reach her ideals that she fails to ensure even her most basic needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a psychological theory proposing a hierarchy of human needs structured as a pyramid. The pyramid begins with basic needs at the bottom and self-actualization at the top, with intermediary levels in between. Those levels include physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, and esteem. According to Maslow, individuals must fulfill lower-level needs before they can achieve higher-level ones. Physiological needs. These are the basic requirements for survival. They include food, water, and shelter. Emma often neglects these fundamental needs in her relentless pursuit of luxury and excitement. Her financial recklessness, notably, leads her to risk the money she needs to continue to guarantee her basic needs. Safety needs. Safety needs encompass security, stability, and protection from harm. Her risky romantic entanglements jeopardize her emotional security, and the ensuing social scandal threatens her stability and safety. Love and belonging. These needs involve relationships, social connections, and a sense of belonging. Emma's idealized view of love drives her to engage in affairs, seeking the passion she believes is absent from her marriage. However, her relationships are superficial and fail to provide the genuine connection and belonging she craves. Sometimes she falls for the wrong person, sometimes her love isn't requited. In both cases, her fantasy clouds her vision. Esteem needs. Esteem needs include respect, self-esteem, and recognition. This can be seen through her obsession with status and luxury. It becomes clear to the reader that this particular obsession is an attempt to fulfill her need for esteem, either for herself or from others. Her constant striving for social admiration and validation exacerbates her feelings of inadequacy when she fails to attain that recognition. Self-actualization. The last piece of the pyramid. Self-actualization involves realizing personal potential, self-fulfillment, and seeking personal growth. Emma believes that achieving a glamorous and romantic life will lead to self-actualization. However, her failure to satisfy basic and fundamental human needs prevents her from reaching true self-fulfillment. She is perpetually stuck trying to place the last Lego piece on a structure that lacks any foundations. Bovarism, in her case, is reflected in the dangers of placing unattainable ideals above practical and necessary realities. And though it may seem easy to poke holes in her reasoning, many of us are victims of the very same concept. Curated perfection. In today's digital age, influencers on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube often present a highly curated and idealized version of their lives. These influencers meticulously edit their photos and carefully select their content to portray an alluring lifestyle, while of course always striving to appear as carefree as possible. This carefully crafted image sets unrealistic standards for beauty, success, and happiness. Followers, bombarded with these images, feel pressure to emulate these lifestyles, due in large part to the idea they have that the people they follow always live, look, or feel the way they portray. The constant exposure to these idealized images contributes to feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, or the idea that they aren't trying hard enough. Ironically, influencers themselves face immense pressure to maintain their image and meet their audience's expectations. Squeezed tightly between the pressure of appearing as they are and keeping their audience engaged can lead them to burnouts, mental health issues, and a disconnect between their online persona and real life. The image they project becomes the image they must keep projecting. They become stuck in a trap they've constructed. For many users, turning to social media is an escape from their mundane or stressful realities. Scrolling through feeds, engaging with influencer content, and immersing oneself in digital communities can provide temporary relief, but over-reliance on social media for escape can exacerbate feelings of dissatisfaction with real life. Users may neglect real-life relationships and responsibilities in favor of their digital lives. This is often seen in how movies, TV shows, and novels depict romantic relationships. Think Disney princes and princesses, or even rom-coms. These portrayals emphasize perfect partners and effortless love, a love so beautiful on screen that it's hard not to look for off-screen. And when this is the only type of relationship people see, well, they tend to think that's what they'll get. But media wants to sell, and selling real love is a lot harder than selling an easy, one-size-fits-all ideal that everyone can project themselves in. The worst thing about Bovarism in romantic relationships is that the pursuit of a perfect relationship often causes people to overlook the value of genuine, albeit flawed, connections. This depiction may also be the reason so many people are prone to the soulmate idea. The belief in a soulmate or perfect partner perpetuates the idea that one's happiness depends on finding this ideal match. The notion that there is a perfect person out there for everyone can result in people neglecting partners who don't respond to every single criteria they may have, instead choosing to remain alone or wait for that fantasy Prince Charming to pop into their lives, driven by a fear of settling for less. These examples of how Bovarism manifests in today's society and affects both personal and collective well-being showcases the shortcomings of the relentless pursuit of idealized lives. But that's not to say that all attempts at escapism are futile or detrimental. The dual nature of Bovarism. Escapism, when practiced in moderation, can be a healthy coping mechanism. It provides temporary relief from stress and offers a break from the monotony of everyday life. Engaging in fantasies can inspire creativity, motivation, new perspectives, and contribute positively to one's mental well-being. Activities such as reading fiction, daydreaming, or engaging in imaginative play allow for mental refreshment and can even be meditative. These healthy fantasies can foster innovation and help individuals envision new possibilities, driving personal and professional growth. Problems only arise when individuals become so overly attached to their fantasies that they allow them to overshadow and distort their reality. It is in this excessive attachment that Bovarism creeps in and leads to the neglect of real-life responsibilities, relationships, and personal growth. The most troubling thing about this concept is that it only gains more and more traction as technology advances. The evolution. When the concept of Bovarism first emerged, it was already potent, but in Flaubert's time, there were only two primary avenues for such escapism: imagination and books. Emma Bovary's downfall was fueled by her consumption of romantic novels and her vivid daydreams. Even then, the dissonance between her fantasies and her reality was enough to destroy everything good in her life. Fast forward to the era of cinema and television, and the means of escapism expanded. Films and TV shows offered new ways to immerse oneself in idealized worlds, but at least we still consume these media in communal settings, like cinema halls and living rooms, often surrounded by friends or family. The experience, while more engrossing, still had elements of shared reality, grounding us somewhat in the real world. Today, we stand on the cusp of a technological revolution, with augmented reality and virtual reality becoming commodities that everyone can access. These technologies promise unprecedented levels of immersion, allowing us to inhabit entirely new worlds with just a headset, so easily that it can be done from the comfort of one's own house, room, bed, alone. Imagine stepping into a vividly constructed virtual paradise or fantasy world where you're the hero, spending hours upon hours in a perfect world made just for you, only to be thrown back to the imperfect nature of real life when your headset dies. That feeling, when compared to Emma Bovary's, would be felt tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. A return to reality so sudden and violent it would make life lesser, a diminished reality caused by the very object that was supposed to enhance it. As time grows and as potentially even more groundbreaking technologies make their way into our lives, we can only imagine how much easier the departure from our world will be made and how much more brutal the return to reality will be. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to Memopoli, and most importantly, share your anecdotes, examples, and thoughts about Bovarism in the comments. See you next week.